Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Women's AM. This morning we're joined by Sister Yasmin, Aisha and Claire to continue our discussion on Ramadan in children. MashaAllah, so far it's been really interesting. I've actually quite enjoyed it. And before we go on to the next set of questions, please do call in. This is a live show, so if you've got any questions or comments to put to the panels, you can do. The number should be on your screens now, or you can tweet us at Islam Channel #OAM15. So we were talking about, MashaAllah, Ramadan, what it means, and some of the difficulties that you find with getting kids involved. But, what is the importance of getting them involved? Sister Yasmin?
As we spoke about it earlier briefly, I mean, Ramadan is the perfect opportunity to teach children and involve children. And I think it's really important as parents or people, guardians or people that are responsible for younger people, to teach children about our beautiful deen. And especially because Shaitan is away at the moment, I think we can really take advantage of this time, that he won't be distracting us from teaching the children around us, and he won't be distracting our children as well. So, children need to understand what this deen is about and why we fast, and who we're fasting for and what we're here for. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're here for Allah and to worship him. So I think it's really important to do this in Ramadan, because everyone is so organized. I don't know about you guys, but I have a plan, I have a timetable, and I stick to it, and I have a schedule. So we're organized, and we can take advantage of this and fit children in, because we are responsible for them at the end of the day, and what they learn from us, we are going to be accountable for. So I think it's good to be conscious at this time about that.
Absolutely. I think you've touched upon a point there that yes, they're in a manner, children are in a manner, and we have, it's an obligation for us to teach them the deen. And not only, is it an obligation, but also we have to, make sure that we kind of give them that love for the deen as well, because the kids are not going to want to learn about something that's not around them 24/7, especially when you live in a society that, Islam is obviously not a predominant sort of a factor in life, that they should feel that excitement, that love towards the deen. So it's really, really important.
I know we've spoken very theoretically before, and probably people are out there in the audience waiting to have some practical examples. So I just think that it's an amazing time for personal growth, and we're great at trying to get our children to do what we perhaps missed as children, like you're going to memorize this because I didn't. Realistically, that is what some people are doing. But if we can think of it as personal growth, so you might have different children, nephews, nieces, whatever. One of them, for example, might need support with restricting their fast, so they go gung-ho into Ramadan. I'm going to fast all day, I'm going to fast all day. They get to school, they're tired. You might need to rein them in a bit. So that's one individual child. Another individual child might be finding it very, very difficult. They might need to do more. Taking example from the Prophet ﷺ, who, when they would fast, they would give the children toys to play with. So what does play mean these days? Spending time with your children to help them perhaps get through their fast, but keeping your eye on that one who's fasting for a bit too long and perhaps needs to break it because he's at his limit. So that's a practical way of perhaps working with your children as individuals.
Absolutely.
It's like my 6-year-old, he wanted to fast on the first day of Ramadan. And I said, okay, fine, just have breakfast, and then you can fast till lunchtime. And then he sort of said, okay, I'll have lunch, but I'm not going to fast. I'm not going to eat until I get home. So that was then his opening of his fast, and we made a big celebration about it. So it was, I mean, he's only 6, so mashallah, I was really proud of him.
It would make sense anyway, because they won't be able to have snacks normally at school from between breakfast and lunch anyway. So even just to tell them that that's your fasting time, I think kind of encourages them to say, oh my goodness, I get to fast, alhamdulillah. Subhanallah. But mashallah, though, that some parents might be struggling in terms of activities. What kind of things can they do with their children during Ramadan? Some practical ideas. What advice do you have for sisters, or what examples can you give sisters at home?
Go ahead. Well, I try to make it as fun as possible for the children. It's a time of anticipation. The children are really looking forward to Ramadan. We put up decorations, put up lights. We have this Ramadan calendar, which I'll show you a bit later on. And we just sort of make it into something really, really special and fun for the children. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes just a bit of time, and they enjoy getting involved in all these activities, mashallah.
Mashallah. Sister Claire, what advice can you give us? You're the professional here. You do the workshops.
The ideas normally pop out of my head, but I thought, okay, let's look online as well. And I did confirm that there are so many examples of creative ideas online. So, I mean, anybody in the audience can just go and check, find something to do. But I've got an example here. What I've brought today is, thinking that it's a month of Quran, the month when the first word was revealed, Iqra. I've got that here. This is not my work. I hasten to add, neither is it my children. But if you could just hold that, Sister Aisha. So thinking that this was the time of revelation. Now, it's very hard to depict that because, of course, we don't depict angels, but we do know that angels are made of light. So you could either have some leftover bits of craft, so this is from a raspberry pack, I think. These bits of tinfoil, or you could go and buy special things, gold paper. Actually, in the pound shop, if you get the gift bags, they give you lots of gold paper for your money compared to the craft shops. And then perhaps to make an Iqra picture, so you would use just as much light as you can around the picture to kind of give the sense of the angel Gabriel who came and recited Iqra for the children. Perhaps a small cave, a really small cave, so that you can give the perspective of the angel, you know, who covered the horizons. And a child actually took the idea and did this one when on one of the workshops I had. They normally take them home, but this girl forgot to take it home, Sophia. So she's got her cave that's a bit more sculpted there. The Prophet Muhammad, we don't show him, we don't show the angel, but you can even write Iqra separately, perhaps practice your Arabic script, pop that on top as well. Nice, easy way to make things not expensive.
Oh, that's some really good ideas. Sister Aisha, I think you've got something else that you've got to show us.
This is something we prepared last Ramadan, and we use it now, this Ramadan, and it's something we stitched, me and my daughter, and we just sort of made it out of felt, sewed little pockets on, and in each pocket we put a little hadith, and sort of my little one likes to sit and read them out every day. You can put little presents in there, little dates in there, so just something really nice for children to get involved and to use as well later on.
What have we got today then?
So today we're on number 6, and we've got a Prophet ﷺ said, even a smile is charity. Let's make a list of different ways we can make others smile.
MashaAllah, that's really sweet. MashaAllah. So that's already a few ideas there for any parents who are watching to kind of get on with it. And I was thinking another way to kind of get them involved is that there are board games, Islamic board games as well, that you can get children involved in. So if they're looking for something that's not so crafty, so maybe if they're a little bit older, they want a bit more of a challenge and they don't want to necessarily cut and stick things, you can get these board games out and say, okay, let's test your knowledge.
And one of the activities they often do in high school and in year 6 at the end of primary is get the children to create board games. So perhaps they could bring their own knowledge into that. So it's less young crafty, but it's a bit more older in terms of design and preparation.
Absolutely. We've had a sister who's called in, and mashallah, she said she's got 2 young ones, but she's finding it very difficult to kind of get engaged in Ramadan because they're so young. What advice would you be able to give this sister?
I think that, I mean, I remember this. I was a new Muslim, and with my children, I didn't really know what Ramadan was, but I did, as I said before, know what celebrations are about because I used to celebrate Christmas. That was a wonderful time. So I just got the idea that, okay, this time for the child is supposed to be fun. So that might not mean anything linked to Quran, linked to Hadith, because your children are so young. You may be very tired because they're so young. So if you can just keep the environment as calm as possible and as nice as possible, then that's already something. That's something that the child will look then positively back on Ramadan. I think that it's really hard for mums, you know, for example, you've rung in with that question. People do put lots of expectations on mums. Oh, have you done this, and you get loads of ideas, and you might be at home thinking, I just can't do any of that.
It can
That's
be quite
fine.
Overwhelming. It can be really, as a mum with young children, it is quite overwhelming.
But it's important to understand as well that children learn so much subconsciously. For example, my nephew that lives with me, he's also 2. Well, my nephews and nieces are all very young, they're all toddlers, and by reading with him or reading in his presence, he's learned Surah Al-Ikhlas, and he's only 2, and his makharij, mashallah, is very good.
So, but what about the sister herself? What could she do, seeing as her kids are so young, what can she do for herself to kind of help her increase that iman and that Ramadan feeling?
Main first one is be realistic. No, please, I would say to the sister, please don't think, oh, I should be doing this, this and this. Something that's realistic for you. This is a time of personal growth. So wherever you are, where's the next step that you want to be? Okay, be realistic with yourself and just do half of that step. And then you'll feel you've achieved something.
Set a plan for yourself. Where are you now? Like you said, I actually do this as well with my friends. You know, set a plan where I am. What complaints have people made about me? You know, listen to other people's criticism. So, for example, someone says you're a bit angry. Maybe write that down. I need to work on that this Ramadan. How are you going to achieve that goal of becoming more patient or more tolerant? And you know, certain books that may help you overcome those anger issues. So, for example, this Ramadan, I'm trying to complete the Purification of the Soul by Imam Ghazali.
Sure.
So by completing this, I'll be learning things throughout the day, the month, and this sister could do something like that. It's not too late. It's only the 6th day of Ramadan.
Sister Aisha, what take-home message would you give to this sister here?
I would say every child mother knows their own child and what they enjoy doing, and be realistic, know your expectations, don't expect too much of yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself. Make loads of dua. This is a month that Allah will be listening to all the du'as. So if you're having challenges, make loads of dua and Allah will make it easy, inshallah.
And that everything that you do is an act of worship, essentially,
Yes,
if you have that
inshallah.
intention
Yes,
there.
inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. While the fasting from food is not obligatory upon children, it is important to include them in Ramadan preparations and to make it exciting for them by finding ways to engage them in all things that we try to attain for ourselves in Ramadan. Teaching the importance of good manners, helping others, and the beauty of the Quran, as well as recounting the stories of the prophets, may peace be upon them. Teaching them to love Ramadan cannot come if they do not understand it. So let's make it a wonderful experience that stays with them throughout their lives. This has been a really interesting discussion, but if you've missed any of it, all is not lost. You can catch the repeat tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. inshallah. And of course, you can catch the highlights from this week on Sunday at 3 p.m. We're off to another break now, but do stay tuned where we'll be going to a third segment after the break where we'll be talking about the Surah Mulk. And now, inshallah, we'll be discussing the ayahs from Surah Mulk. So